Errol Spence Jr., the promoter. In this video, we talk about Errol Spence's job as a promoter, what he's done, Frank Martin, the success he had last night, and what could possibly be in the future for both Frank Martin, Errol Spence Jr., and that Terrence Crawford fight. This is your boy JG. This is the Punch Report. Let's get right into the comment. You guys know the deal. Like, subscribe, bell icon for notification. All things boxing, breakdowns, shorts, thought-provoking questions. We get all of it here. Let's get into it. So I like this topic because oftentimes when we talk about active fighters, guys like a Terrence Crawford, guys like Errol Spence, Canelo Alvarez, you know, some of the more name-known guys, we talk about them as fighters. We break them down. Jabs, head movement, footwork, resumes, stuff like that. But I think it's exciting to see a guy like an Errol Spence Jr., who is now crossed over. You know, he always had man down promotions, I believe it's called. But now you see a fighter that he is promoting. He's taking the lead on that, and Frank the Ghost Martin. And one of the things that I found to be fascinating and refreshing is there was an interview that was conducted on Friday. Today is Sunday at the time of filming this video, where Errol Spence Jr. was being interviewed. I believe it was Fight Hype, and I tried to find the interview, but I couldn't find it again. He had Frank Martin there with him. Obviously, everyone wants to know about the Terrence Crawford Errol Spence fight. But for that period of time, the interviewer was doing a pretty good job of focusing on Frank Martin, asking him appropriate questions, you know, asking questions about late replacement and Jackson Moranes, and kind of staying focused on the upcoming event because this was pre-weigh-in. But one of the things I thought was dope is when the questioning went over to Errol Spence Jr., he did a fantastic job of answering the questions 1, 2, keeping the focus on Frank Martin, who's fighting. You know, he's fought since, but he's going into a fight, and really kind of protecting that moment for that particular fighter. As a promoter, well, this is a unique situation because you have an active fighter as a promoter, but as a promoter should. Too many times, like I think a good example of this is if you think about a guy like Ryan Garcia. He is slated to fight Javier Fortuna, but all he does is talk about Gervonta Tank Davis. What if he goes out here and just gets slept by Javier Fortuna? I'm not saying that's going to happen. I haven't really broken that fight down. But what happens in that scenario? I'm clowning. I'm making 10 videos, and I'm just going to talk shit about how you talking about a guy who you're not slated to fight. It's not likely you're going to fight. Your promoter is questionable in Oscar De La Hoya, and the list goes on. But when I think about Errol Spence Jr. and the job he did during the course of that interview, keeping the focus on Frank Martin, because you already knew it was coming eventually. Errol, before I let you go, just really quick, you know, it's a question that I have to ask. You know, everybody's been wondering about this, so you already know he knows what's coming. And what do you think about the Terrence Crawford fight? So, you know, hey, I think the fight's going to happen. An interesting comment that he made in this interview, and I gotta try. If I find it, I'll put the link in the description. I do believe it was a Fight Hype interview. But one of the things I found to be interesting about this particular interview was he says, you know, I feel like this fight is close. I'm confident of that. And if it doesn't happen now, then it's not going to happen, which to me means all inroads have almost essentially been eliminated. We have come to the place where everything that's left on the table is nuanced things here and there, semantics with contract language and things of that nature. If it doesn't happen now, then it's not going to happen. And so how I interpret that is we're running out of excuses. Time is of the essence. I feel good about where we're at from, you know, contract negotiations. And if for some reason it gets hung up or you fold your arms and you try to dip out, and I'm not playing the blame game, but, you know, if you're speaking from the Errol Spence perspective, then it's not going to happen, because if we can't get it done now, how are we going to get it done next year or 2 years from now? And does that fight have the same luster? So then the interviewer goes back to Frank Martin. He says, Errol Spence Jr., stablemate, you know, Terrence Crawford, great champion, former undisputed 140 pounds, blah, 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 blah. How do you see that fight playing out? My man Errol Spence shut all that down. He said, hey, look, listen, you want to ask Frank Martin about these fights or this fight coming up with Moranes and this card and its importance and what can happen next? Then let's talk about that. But we're not doing no breakdowns of Bud Crawford, Errol Spence right now as this man prepares to go fight Jackson Moranes on short notice. Now, switching over to the fight itself, took place last night. I thought it was a good fight. I thought the whole card was great. Shout out to Figueroa, bounce back victory. Maxayo, you know, he lost his strap. And then obviously, you know, that Frank Martin got the stoppage victory over Jackson Moranes. And I want to talk about Jackson Moranes for a second. I almost feel bad for him. And let me explain why. He's 19-0 going into the Rolando Rolly Romero fight. He won that fight. If you watch the fight, he won it. Punch stats show that he won it. He won the fight, but he gets gifted the victory. You know, I've done a video on this one before. If you look at the end of the fight, the commentary when they read the scorecards and it goes to Rolando Romero, the call, you know, the announcer team, they're blown away. Oh, how could this be? Oh my God, this is right. They just go crazy, and it's very telling. Then you got Rolly just standing there. He's a little bit surprised, but he's not trying to show it. He just kind of smile and look around like, yeah, you know, I won that. Nah. So anyway, I go back to my man Jackson Moranes. He gets robbed on that Showtime card. Then he goes on, right? He fights Richard Comey. I think was coming off the Lomachenko loss, but a dangerous opponent. He had over 30 fights at that point. I think he was 30-3. Or maybe 30-4 at that point, that being Comey. He stops Moranes, I think, in the 6th round. So now you got 2 losses in a row. Your momentum's kind of fucked up. Then you take this fight, short notice fight, against Frank Martin, up-and-comer, only 15 fights at that point, 16 fights now, 12 knockouts, and now 13 knockouts. And you get touched up. And I feel like that was a great opponent for Frank Martin, where he's at. That was actually a perfect opponent for him. Even though it was short notice, I think it was Ricardo Nunes who he's supposed to fight, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I don't even know why, if he got hurt or whatever happened. But that was a great measuring stick fight because Moranes is good. Well, at least when I last peeped him, he's good. Good boxing fundamentals, slightly above average power, good chin, decent experience, and he knows how to move about the ring. Frank Martin was patient, really just broke him down, as you know, Errol Spence said, and then landed a heavy shot to close the show late in that fight. So shout out to Jackson Moranes. Man, I hope you got 3 losses in a row in a young career. It can be tough to come back from, but dudes have done it. Hang in there, keep doing your thing. Moving over to Frank Martin, I think he's right where he needs to be. Obviously, he has a great team. Shout out to Derek James. You know you have Charlo, 154-pound undisputed champion, Errol Spence Jr., and now on the rise, Frank Martin. If Derek James is not trainer of the year, I don't care. Crawford could just knock out Errol in 2 rounds, and Derek James is still trainer of the year. I mean, he's done a hell of a job with these fighters, putting on tremendous events and showing up and supporting in a way that you want your trainer to you know, show up and support. And furthermore, the dude's in dumbass shape. He out there jumping over the little ladders. He's hopping up and down like a rabbit, and he's doing his thing. He's putting in road work, and he looks fantastic. You know, don't be about it, or don't talk about it, be about it. And he's doing a lot of being and not a lot of talking. And I think that's motivation for his team, his camp, and for other observers from the outside. You see Derek James running hot as hell outside. He running with no shirt on, doing a video. You like, hey, let me get off my ass and go do my road work. But Rolando Romero, I think, would be a great fight for Frank Martin. I want to know what you guys think at 135 pounds. Is he next? Is it too soon to determine that? What does he need to work on? I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched a lot of tape on him. I have recently, just to kind of figure out where he's at. And I think he is a guy with tremendous athleticism, skill, and ability who's still learning the sport of boxing. And as long as he's moved right and given an opportunity to grow and develop at an appropriate pace, I think that he has an opportunity to really, you know, shake some things up. Now, it's not an issue, but the reality is 130, 135 pounds, 140 pounds, these divisions have fucking killers in them. It's ridiculous. I mean, excuse my language, but these divisions really have dudes that do work. And at 15, now 16 fights and 12 knockouts, you know, I think Rolando Romero is a perfect step-up fight, coming off a loss. And I don't even know why I call it step-up fight, because Rolly doesn't have a bunch of fights himself, but I know he got in a crazy shape for Tank Davis. He understood what was going to take to beat Tank Davis, went in there and made adjustments from his previous fighting style to try to present a different look to Tank Davis, and it, you know, just didn't work out his way. Tank Davis is a lot smarter than people give credit for, and he knocked him out. But that experience is invaluable. Preparing for fighters like Tank Davis, that experience is invaluable. And I think coming off a loss, going up against an uppercomer, it'll be a Showtime event, I believe, so it's in-house, easy to make. I think that fight makes all the sense in the world. Errol Spence said it pre-fight and post-fight. That's what he would like to see happen. It'll probably do crazy numbers because you don't really be running that yap. And we got to see what's going to happen next. But Frank Martin at 135 pounds appears to be a problem. Patient, good fundamentals. And it appears he has solid pop. So we just got to see what's next for him. Shout out to EJ, the promoter, Man Down Promotions, Strap Season. Shout out to Derek James, Coach of the Year. Shout out to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence for the upcoming bout, if it gets done. We've covered it ad nauseum. but we're looking forward to seeing that. This is your boy JG. This has been the Punch Report. Please like, subscribe, bell icon for notification. More heat coming. You guys have been doing a hell of a job growing the channel. Something like, I don't even want to say the numbers, but we've been doing a good ass job. So you guys keep up the good work. Keep the comments coming. Keep checking out the shorts. Those are doing great. And we out.